Hey, you're here today with Mickey and Jessica, FYI, with Mickey and Jessica on the Social Beef channel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Jessica. I live in Lincoln, Nebraska. I moved here from Florida, and I try to stay in the fields of education and social justice and social work.
And I'm Mickey. I live in Florida. So I am currently a social worker. I work with domestic violence survivors. Which can relate to kind of like homelessness in a way.
You know, when I think about kind of like the virus and homelessness, I feel like somewhat the homeless population is like disregarded. People forget about, oh, okay, where are they gonna stay? Where are they? Where are the homeless? Where did they go?
Yeah, I mean, some people are calling them the forgotten population because like we concern about the elderly population, the children, so many different population, but everyone not, worrying about that. And then with the stay in shelter order, what if you don't have a shelter to stay in? Then it's kind of like, what do you do now? You know?
Exactly. A lot of us don't have homes, and especially the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act defined homelessness as having not having fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence, not having a
Hmm.
place to stay continuously.
Exactly. So it's very difficult with COVID-19 right now because there's so many changes and people wasn't ready for it and they don't have like a plan in order. So what we want to discuss is want to discuss some facts and some positive and negative things because it's not all negative. There's some people that's doing like great things right now. Like Jessica and I, we're very passionate about tiny houses.
Yeah.
And they building 500 tiny houses to help the population in San Jose, California right now. So I would say they're doing something about it. And they don't need much. If you think about a homeless person, they just have a backpack and few things. So they don't have furniture like that. So they can easily stay in a tiny house. And 500, that's a lot. It will help like 15% of the homeless population in San Jose.
Yeah, it totally will. And tiny houses actually are more cost efficient, and you save more money than building shelters. When you build a shelter, you gotta have permits,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta have grants, plans, you gotta get workers. When you build a tiny house, now that you're home, now you can actually place your belongings somewhere where it's permanent. Belongings are very important. If we lost all of our stuff today, it burned in a fire, a lot of us would be devastated. We connect to what we have. It brings us a sense of belonging. It makes us feel safe, makes us feel like we're important. And so when I think about, the corona and how it really affects, the homeless population, I try to remember, okay, what about their basic needs? Where are they going to go? Some of these places are closed, or they limited amount
Mm-hmm.
of people, and they're moving a lot of homeless individuals to hotels, and that it wasn't an option before. Now it's an option. It's
That's
just
good.
very interesting how certain options have opened, but they weren't available before the virus.
And like you say, what they got for basic need, people don't think about it. Like when you're homeless, you wake up, you don't know where you're gonna wash your face. You know what I mean? So basic things that we take for granted, like we just wake up, we go to the kitchen and cook and we do things like that because you have a home. They have to figure out where they're gonna shower, where they're gonna do this. And they do have a lot of programs that provide like basic needs like soap, water, things like that, but they can't do it right now. A lot of them not functioning the way they used to. So the people that used to go out to provide like a bar of soap, and they have this van. It's so cool. I think it's so cool. It's like a van, and then it comes to a neighborhood, and it has the basic needs like showering and stuff. They can actually use it to shower. And I didn't know that, but I'm like, wow, people can go to that van that come to this location, and then you can clean up. So, so that's pretty good.
I think that's really cool. I really do think it's cool when they have like mobile units to go around
Mhm.
and assist, fulfill the basic needs of those living in homelessness. Here in Lincoln, they have like People City Mission and they have Matt Talbot, and both have been trying to work with the virus to still provide services to lower income and homeless populations. Like People City Mission, they're trying to get more cots. They need more cots so that they can move
Yes.
some of their shelter people that stay there to a new location so that they can make sure they can watch out for the virus. The virus is still affecting people. There's a stay-at-home order in a lot of states, and we're trying to get people to not go outside, not be around other people. But you got to understand, for like a lot of people that are homeless, I mean, what are you going to do at a shelter all day? I mean, you got to have some room to breathe, to go outside, and you got to have some space around people. If there's a whole 6 feet distance, then how is that being, shown in shelters? Is there enough distance around people? And a lot of states, apparently, some of the states,
Mhm.
they're trying to treat the virus, but the standards for living in homelessness is very inadequate in general. So on top of that, you have to watch out for the health and the safety concerns in a lot of these shelters.
And not only just the homeless population and the people in the situation, the staff that are, working
Mhm.
with them. So, well, the safety as well. So they will need all the safety tools, such as, the mask and gloves and everything, just so they can go home to their family and also be safe. Like, it's just, it's a situation that just it's not easy to deal with as a staff. You don't want to end up with COVID because you're trying to help someone off the street. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's just a very, very difficult decision. Like, do we close down the shelters? Like, I know in New York City, they closed two shelters,
Mhm.
not just one, two. But think about it. All the people that was in this shelter, where do they go now?
Exactly.
If two of them close, like they have to go somewhere else. And now we just have, more problem, and we have to keep people off the street in order to slow down the spread of the virus. And if you're not providing the services, then they can't be off the street,
There's nowhere to go.
you know?
Nowhere to go. And I find it interesting because some people, they also sleep in their car. That's their home, is
Hmm.
their car. And what I like is that in some states, they're trying to remember that people live in their car. Not everyone has an apartment or house or place that they can go. Some people do go to the streets, and if the shelters are closed, that's the next place they go. But if they have a car, a lot of the people stay in their car. And like places like Walmart, some Walmarts and some churches and certain places provide kind
So,
of like safe parking where you can park safely. You can park there over the night. And I like that some cities are taking that into consideration to create more safe parking. Because if you're closing the parks, you're closing the parking there. So I think that's great that they're offering those services as well. And they're trying to remember that, hey, there's other populations that are struggling.
hmm,
Some people have lost their jobs. And, people forget, which is a huge myth. People think that, okay, you're homeless, that means you're not working. Actually, a large percentage of people that are homeless also work, and full-time job does not guarantee any services. You can make $9 an hour here, minimum wage in Nebraska. You can work 40 hours a week, make $9 an hour. You are most likely not going to be eligible for SNAP as a one-person household. Like the minimum, you will barely be meeting it because SNAP looks at gross. They don't look at net.
mm.
So it won't, I mean, it doesn't really help most of the time.
And you said something earlier, now they provide in hotels and all that. But because the reason they're doing that, there's a government grant that's been released for
Mhm.
that purpose. So because of that grant, now they distribute it to the local government in this whatever state it is. So that's what they're doing. And then the local government determined what services or shelters or group of, people can like distribute those grants. That's where this money is coming from to, to help get people into, hotels and all these things. But before that, I guess no one was or listening or advocating, whichever way it goes, to get that homeless grant. I mean, the money was there, but it's like someone had to, find it. But now that this is happening, so now they providing all this money, and so that's what's going on. That's why we have like a lot of help in this, situation now.
So, how is homelessness in Florida?
I mean, the shelters are not closing down as much, but I know there's one shelter that closed in Miami.
Hmm.
Miami is the land of the homeless. It
Yeah.
has way more homeless than any location. And also, they have a lot of homeless shelters in Miami and domestic violence shelter. They have three domestic violence shelters. They're about to get a new one. They're working on getting a new one real soon. And Palm Beach has two domestic violence shelter, and Broward only has one. And I don't think they're planning to add another one
Hmm.
anytime. I don't know why. I don't know how it works. I don't know how they determine which one gets more domestic violence shelter and homeless shelter.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works. But I know some places has less, even though Broward is a big population.
Hmm. It
So
is a
I
big
believe they should have at least another one, but they're not doing that at the moment.
Mhm.
So they do have a lot of services for the homeless in Miami, just that I'm not sure if all of them function right now. Like they have helping hand and they have places that provide them with, they have all type of transitional housing,
Yeah.
shelters and so on for different population. Like they have one, I can't remember the name of it on top of my head. It's for people with mental illness.
Okay.
So if you're homeless and there's mental illness, you can go to that program. And they have one for the youth, so that help the youth from becoming young adult, and so on. It focus on different population. So I'll let you guys know when I can remember the name of the organization
Okay.
in Miami that does that.
Yeah.
So I because I have to look up these things because of the place that I work at. So but I think they're doing their best so far. Florida is not closing down as much, but we'll see.
I know here in Lincoln, some of the shelters and the places like Matt Talbot, they have like the amount of volunteers dramatically reduced. And so their ability to provide the services they were able to provide when they had a good number of volunteers is different because they don't have that many people to help out. And so right now, I think a lot of people have in Lincoln and in Omaha have tried to really band together to start mutual funds and start donating, their food, extra food they have, or any extra, toilet paper that they have. I haven't seen that much with toilet paper, but
Yeah,
because I'm still trying to
true.
keep the toilet paper. But um, when I think about kind of the homelessness and you're kind of an expert in domestic violence, what makes me nervous is how the virus is the virus is interacting with domestic violence and
Mhm.
people who are sleeping on couches that have to sleep on someone's couch. Maybe they really needed maybe they were pregnant and they were homeless and then the virus hit, so they actually had to go and be somewhere inside and there was no more room in a shelter, because if there's no more room in a shelter, you don't have a bed. They're not going to give it to you. It doesn't matter.
That's just how it works.
It doesn't matter if you're pregnant. And so you maybe had to go, go and sleep on someone's couch, some person you met, but you were hoping that they wouldn't do anything to you. And now you're sleeping
Hmm.
on your couch. It's been over almost a couple months. How does that affect the domestic violence atmosphere?
I mean, there's many things that affect domestic violence. Holidays, it's one of them. I don't know why, but after Christmas,
Hmm.
that's when everything come out. During Christmas, everything fine. Right after the holidays, season over, and it's crazy because people are happy and joyful, and then I guess reality hits, and then
Yeah.
people gets mad and they go back to it. So to answer that, the questions you asked, It's going up. What happened is that these people are trapped in a house together. They can't leave. And they clearly don't like each other, even though they do like each other. You see what I'm trying to say? They
Yeah.
never got along to begin with, but used to have that break. For example, the wife used to be able to go to work and to get a break from the abusive husband, but she laid off because of the virus, so now she can't go nowhere. And then she don't have that family to go to because everyone being careful with social distance going on, so you can't go to people like they used to. And also, like, if the husband used to work out of state or whatever he used to do, now he's home more, and he probably annoyed because imagine, like, if he doesn't have a job and he has an anger issue and he just lost his job, he's gonna take it out on his wife who is at home, or the children. And child abuse is definitely not doing too well either, because some children, home is not home.
Yep.
They love being in school, they like to be away from the home. Now they trap at home with the person that
Mhm.
is abusing them
Yep.
every day. So, and then no one can come and rescue them because everybody in their home, and it's like you just have to stay there. You don't have anywhere to go, and children just, they don't have the resource to get away from that situation. It's the same thing with domestic violence. A lot of women or men don't have the resource. It's that one person paying for everything. They pay the rent, they pay for the food, they pay for the gas. If they pay for the gas, why you don't even have a car? They have to drive you and know where you're going. You can't say I'm going to escape. So you got to tell them where you're going.
Mhm.
So it's like children and domestic violence survivor, they very similar in a way when it comes to child abuse, because they don't have the extra resources, and and they both trap. They can't go anywhere. So
So, especially domestic violence can really affect homeless families, especially those living in their car, and now they have their
mhm.
children with them. That is probably extremely stressful because what if
Yeah,
they lost their job or got their hours reduced, or how are they going to work now? Who's going to watch their kids? You know, it's just very interesting because you can have
yeah,
money, but if you don't have money, because let's say your kid was like in first grade, second grade, and you worked a certain amount of hours, and then after you worked you're able to pick up your kid, but now because of the virus, living in your car with your child and that is not in school anymore, your only option is to put them in daycare, but now you don't really even have the funds to do that. And
exactly.
it's very interesting how the virus is really affecting homeless populations.
People don't know that school is actually an escape for a lot of people. It's an escape for people that don't have a reliable babysitting going on for them. Because if you don't have a babysitter, so you can work a shift at work that matches when they're in school. You can still have income, so when they get off school, you can pick them up, or they can go to an after school activities, which it's a lot cheaper to pay for after school activities when they're older, you
Yeah,
know.
it
So
is.
if they play football or something, so you can be at work 9 to 5, and then you just pick them up after. And also, if you don't have a lot of money, even though you're working, sometimes you're not making enough money to feed 5 children, especially if you have a large family.
Mhm.
So the school help you feed the children because they give them breakfast and then they give them lunch.
Yes.
So when they go home, a lot of people, that's the way they feed their children. So which I'm happy that they have this program where they feed the children over the summer, because they find out that over the summer a lot of children wasn't eating because their parents couldn't afford it, or because of child abuse, or because of of homelessness, or whatever, whether the parents was on drugs, whatever the situation is. So now this program, they're trying to get some type of program going where they still give them, meals. The school still providing meals, but I'm not sure how that's going so well right now. But
I find that with the coronavirus, and some people maybe they got a reduction in hours, or they are not working,
hmm
maybe are trying to find another job, they still got to pay for their rent, even if even if the landlord says, okay, you can pay for it, in the next few months. I know you're going through the virus, you're going to pay for it now, but you're going to have to pay for it eventually.
double.
That is creating more debt. and it can actually be perpetuating more poverty. And because a lot of people in general, even before the virus, what is there is 1% that are
Mhm.
really really high income. Okay, then there's the middle class, and then there's the lower middle, and those who are considered just a lower income. So just that lower middle and low income, I mean, this virus is deeply affecting people, and even those from the middle class. I feel like it's, really hurting people in different ways, and is creating more debt, and definitely straining your mental bandwidth, your ability to have enough energy, enough time to think
Mhm.
and think about your finances. It's definitely creating more concern, more mental health. And like you said, some people who have anger issues, it probably is creating more issues with domestic violence and dating violence and child abuse because your children are home now. And
Yeah.
so it can probably be really affecting those who are homeless and have kids, or homeless and have a partner, or someone they're dating. It's very interesting how, this virus is affecting different populations. Um, but I totally
Definitely.
enjoyed talking with you today.
So we're
Yeah.
just gonna go to the facts because we don't wanna hold you guys up too long. So you wanna give your facts first, Jessica?
No, you can give your facts.
Okay. So you guys can answer this to yourself, or the fact is homeless individuals or family always sleep on the street. Is that fact or fiction? So that is definitely fiction because just because you not on the street, that doesn't mean you not homeless. If you're sleeping on someone's couch right now, you are homeless, okay? If you're sleeping in your car, you are homeless. If you're sleeping in a motel or hotel, you are homeless. So I talk to people sometime, and then they say like, I'm not homeless. I'm not those people who drinks and this. It's just that we have this image of people like, you're supposed to be like drugged out or something to be homeless. You can dress nice, everything, and going to work and all, and still be homeless. It's a state of you do not have a home right now. That's just what it means. You don't have a stable home. That's it. It's not a insult. It's not something for you to be like ashamed of or anything like that. It's just what you're going through right now. You know?
Mhm. Fact or fiction, homelessness is only a problem in big cities. That is also fiction. Of it happens in suburbs, it happens in rural areas, and it deeply affects a variety of communities, not just the bigger cities. You can see it a lot when you go to New York City or Miami, like where Mickey is. You can see it in Los Angeles. You can see the tent cities in Minneapolis, but it's still prevalent in smaller communities as well.
Definitely. So, we're just gonna end here for today, but next week we're just gonna talk to you guys about some topics, and so we can discuss. And if you guys have any questions, you can put it under the live video after we post it. We'll share it different places so you guys can ask your questions. And we're not like, we don't know everything. We learn it. And we're going along with you guys. Whatever we don't know, we'll look it up. And if we know it, we'll share this with you to inform you guys, okay?
Hey, well, I hope you have a great day. It's warm where you are. I'm
And
jealous.
it's windy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, have fun in Florida. Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.